Hi, my name is Stephanie Bissonette. I'm the Director of Children's Services at the Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I'm also a teacher of the visually impaired and a certified orientation and mobility instructor. My objectives today are to review VAB services, our roles and responsibilities, explain what the expanded core curriculum is, discuss the evaluations we provide, how to make referrals to VABVI, the types of contracted services we have, and discuss educating students with a visual impairment in Vermont. I'm also going to address the services to transition students. The four major job descriptions at VABVI are TVI, which stands for Teacher of the Visually Impaired, COMS, which is Certified Orientation and Mobility Specialist. CADIS is Certified Assistive Technology Instructional Specialist, specifically for individuals with visual impairments. And CBRT, Certified Vision Rehabilitation Therapist, who works mostly with adults. In general, our organization provides services from birth to end of life. Now, getting into the roles and responsibilities of our staff members, this next slide discusses those roles and responsibilities of the teacher of the visually impaired, and those revolve around what we call the expanded core curriculum. So of course we know the core curriculum is math, science, English, social studies. The expanded core curriculum addresses these 9 areas that are specific and specialized instruction for students with visual impairments in order to compensate for decreased opportunities to learn incidentally by observing. The 9 areas are compensatory, such as Braille instruction, socialization, learning about making friends, finding your peers at recess, understanding body language when you can't see it, daily living skills, such as making your breakfast and lunch independently, rec and leisure skills, making sure that you're exercising, staying healthy, career education to help reduce the 70% unemployment rate, sensory skills. For one example is increasing auditory speed reading, help you keep up with your peers, because if you have a visual impairment, it takes twice as long to read things. Self-determination, building students' confidence so that they can say, I can do it myself. And then the last 2 areas are orientation and mobility. Those services are provided by the COMS, such as creating independent travelers who are unable to drive. They may or may not learn to use a cane. This is a prerequisite for getting a guide dog. It's all about becoming an independent traveler. And the CADIS will provide lessons specific to assistive technology. These are skills to help people stay employed. So the role of the certified orientation and mobility instructor goes deep is what I'm trying to say. So the COMS are required to complete 37 college credits, which are 12 courses specific to visual impairments. They are trained in non-visual skills specific to visual impairments to access their schools and their communities. They're trained in the use of a long cane, monocular telescope, echolocation. They demonstrate proficiency in human guide, protective techniques, alignment, search techniques, in orientation mobility with developmentally appropriate modifications. They teach orientation, body language, spatial, positional, directional, and environmental concepts based on individual needs to promote motor skill development, orientation, mobility, and to reduce social isolation. They adapt non-visual tasks. They create tactile maps. They teach talking GPS systems, such as mobility apps and other mobility devices. They understand the prerequisites to becoming a guide dog user. They can provide the letter of recommendation as well to the guide dog school. They teach students to find destinations with strategies that include following directions and using landmarks and/or compass directions. They teach students techniques for crossing streets, analyzing and identifying intersection and traffic patterns. They teach students problem-solving skills to determine what to do if you're disoriented or lost or need to change your route. And lastly, they teach students to use the public transportation or any transit system. The role of the certified assistive technology specialist for individuals with visual impairments is described as such. This is a postmaster level certification that includes in-depth coursework and an extensive supervised internship. They're experts in assessment and instruction in assistive technology, configuration and exploration of AT, assistive technology, of AT solutions. They collaborate with school-based IT people and ed tech staff to increase student access, such as state testings, or here in Vermont, they use Chromebooks a lot. Operate and instruct on both screen reading software. So there's a talking software commonly used called JAWS, and there's a screen magnification software that provides large print, and that's called Zoom Text. These are two software programs designed specifically for the visually impaired. Their expertise in Chromebook accessibility, they can operate Braille tablets and Braille displays, which are essentially Braille computers. They engage in collaborative team approach to support students with visual impairments and additional disabilities. These students with complex needs may need switch access or iPads or an augmentative communication system. They're knowledgeable about accessible features of statewide tests, and they support teachers, paraprofessionals, and students during statewide testing. They also provide sometimes direct instruction specific to those two software programs I mentioned earlier, the talking software and the large print software. So why is the CADIS important? Because I ask you this question: can you complete all computer tasks without looking at the screen? Can you shut off your computer, cover your screen, then turn it back on and get to the internet without looking at your screen or using the cursor? Our students must use assistive technologies designed specifically for the visually impaired, because many software products are not 100% accessible. They may say they are, but they are only partially accessible. For example, pictures and graphs are often not accessible to the visually impaired. So think about how often you're viewing pictures and gaining information by looking. These options are usually lacking for people with visual impairments. So schools are also using fewer and fewer hard copy books. Therefore, it takes a combination of technology resources to meet their needs. And then the APH products. APH stands for the American Printing House for the Blind. These are educational materials specifically designed for the visually impaired, such as Braille books and light boxes and a Braille globe, along with a combination of downloaded books from Bookshare, Bard, which is the Vermont State Library here. Bard is a national audiobook option. It stands for B for Braille, A for audio, R for recording. And then there's Learning Ally. So no one product meets all of their needs any more than one product meets all of your needs at work. The evaluations provided by our staff include a functional vision assessment. So that's putting the child's vision into layman's term. They need to be this close to the board. They need this size font, those kind of things. This is how we can make accommodations in art, PE, music, math, science, so forth, social studies. Learning media assessment, those are for the students that are on the fence. Are they a large print reader or a Braille reader, or they may be both? Cortical visual impairment assessment is the most common cause of visual impairment in the United States. There are 16 characteristics that go along with that assessment. Our staff can provide an orientation and mobility assessment all the way from once the child starts walking at like age 1.5, all the way up through school and into adult life. Daily living skills assessment. We want these kids doing everything for themselves. Social skills checklist, assistive technology assessment, and then the assessment of Braille literacy skills. There's emerging Braille skills, literacy skills, and functional Braille skills. The 3 levels of contracted services are weekly. We'll see students anywhere between 1 hour a week, or if we had an academic high school student, it could be 20 hours per week. Because in Vermont, We produce the Braille for our students. We don't have enough Braille students in one area to hire someone to help us to do that. So back to my original comment, we can provide weekly services 1 hour or more. Some of our students get monthly services, which is 1 to 3 visits per month. We have consultation, which is every other month or once a year. So anywhere between, 1 to 5 hours a year. The first evaluation for a new referral for students ages 3 to 22 who are not already in our database is free. Otherwise, a contract between VAB and the school district is created. We are providing services to some students that are homeschooled as long as funding can be found. VAB services are provided throughout the state. We have 4 offices, one in South Burlington, one in Berlin, Vermont, one in Rutland, Vermont, and one in Brattleboro, Vermont. The application for referral for children's services is found on our website or by calling me at 1-800-639-5861, extension 225. Our website is VABVI, which stands for Vermont Association Blind Visually Impaired.org. So VABVI.org. All referral paperwork is sent to me. For children, it goes to Andrea for adults. And then we require a copy of an eye report to determine that the student or adult meets the eligibility for being visually impaired. We have a booklet called Educating Students with Visual Impairments, and that describes our whole scope of services, which I described earlier. We have consistent collaboration with the Vermont State Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Our staff refer students to DBVI, the Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired, starting at age 14. We know that approximately 70% of adults with visual impairments are unemployed. So that's one of the wonderful things about us working collaboratively is it's a very smooth transition of services. So each year our staff collaborate with the Learn, Earn, and Prosper program known as LEAP. It's a workforce development program to provide pre-employment transitional services to transition-aged youth who are visually impaired and whose goal is to become employed. The LEAP program has been so unique and so successful, it has gone national. The Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired is a voc rehab program now known as Higher Ability. The individual's goal is to obtain or maintain employment. Services provided may include vocational training, visual restoration, vision rehab services, daily living skills training, guidance, counseling, vocational assessments, job placement, adaptive technology, and AIDS education, and more. An example of their youth services are LEAP program, which is they provide virtually or through community internships or residentially. They have assistive technology evaluations and training, especially for students who are graduating high school. This is, again, I'm talking about DBVI services here. They have job development services and post-secondary services and vocational training. And the other program that DBVI provides is an independent living program. The individual's goal is to remain as independent as possible within their home and community. Services provided may include information, referral, advocacy, counseling, and skills training and activities of daily living, such as independent travel, cooking, and magnification and self-care. The Learn, Earn, and Prosper program provides blind and visually impaired youth the opportunity to gain the skills needed to become independent, confident, and productive with the outcome of increased employability. They offer winter retreats and spring programs. LEAP collaborates with our staff. For example, the LEAP staff meets with our teachers of the visually impaired to determine which transition age students are interested and who qualifies for their program. The LEAP staff employ certified orientation mobility specialists from VAB to ensure that the transition age students are improving their mobility skills by taking the bus to and from work, learning to navigate a college campus and dorm or any of their living quarters. And LEAP employs certified vision rehab therapists from VAB to teach students to plan, organize, and cook their daily meals during these programs. The LEAP summer employment programs occur online, residentially, or in the student's local community. Their skill shops are teenage gatherings to learn about tools for accessing their community and living independently, to attend mobility or independent living workshops, to provide multiple opportunities to connect with peers, meet and learn with professional blind and visually impaired members during their speaker retreats, to develop skills for job readiness and employment. They attend self-advocacy and self-disclosure workshops. The students get paid for a job for the first time in their lives, and they're given opportunities to start building a resume. So that's the wrap up. Again, my name is Stephanie Bissonette, and I work for the Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.